if you want to level up your head sculptures, then this video is for you. We're gonna go into the skull anatomy today and really learn and understand what their key features are to make up a realistic looking skull. And this you can then use to really improve the facial structure of your face sculptures. So this is a really important step. It's a little bit dry, I won't lie, but when you get this, I will promise you that your face sculptures will level up instantly. So let's do it. Alright, so here we have the skull. So as you can see here, I have this basic skull here that I have prepared for you guys. It has some basic textures, as you can see. Very basic. I ain't really that great of a texturing artist. But yeah, so very basic textures here. And then I thought we were gonna talk about first the jaw and like this top part, the head, right? So as you can see here, the head is a lot bigger than the jaw. But you can see also that the head is a lot rounder and the jaw is a lot more like an angular shape. But make sure of this, guys, it's not like a 90-degree angle here. It's not a 90-degree. It's a little bit softer, you know. On most male skulls, it's not 90 degrees. And yeah, by the way, this is a male skull that I've sculpted. So yeah, that's my skull there. So yeah, not 90 degrees. And with the teeth here, the teeth actually is a little bit inwards. Like you can see here, the low teeth, that they actually have a tiny bit of an angle inwards. That's just because it's so the upper teeth can overlap, you know, so it can bite together, you know. And here, if we just talk a little bit about this top part, very round, and we have all of these shapes here. We're going to talk more in detail about them very soon. And you see, I'm not done the like lower part because we don't really need to know that as artists too often, right? Yeah, so yeah, let's talk about these bumps, right? So these two bumps are really important to get this like forehead shape, get some more like mid-frequency, if not like basic shapes in, but especially mid-frequency really helps us to make the forehead really pop, you know? Make sure to add those in. They have a little bit of this like, not gap in between here, but a little bit of a, it goes inwards a little bit here, so you don't make that as one like rectangular shape most of the time in most people, but you make it into two like bumps. So yeah, that's really important, so make sure that you do that, guys. Alright guys, so this is like a very important shape. It's like you see here, a very soft like M shape. If you don't put this in the skull and like where the eyebrow sits, it's gonna look very weird, because this shape is what literally like the eyebrows sit on top. It sits actually a little bit down, and the eyebrow sits like right here, you see, but yeah, they are really important, because if you don't put this in, the eyebrows and the eye shape ain't gonna work. Remember it as a like sad smiley face. That's how I remember it. Really easy, real nice, and really helps your sculpture. So if you add the eye orbit structure to your normal face sculptures, it's really gonna make the eyes pop and really gonna make the eye anatomy look correct. So really make sure to think about everything from the skeleton and muscles, fat and cartilage to really make a complete sculpture, you know? That's really important, because if you don't do that, the anatomy is gonna fall flat. Alright, so the temporal line, this is actually a really fun landmark to put into your like face sculptures. So right here you can see the bone. Here's actually where the temporalis muscle connects to the bone, you know? So the temporalis muscle connects from here and down to the jaw here through the sternocleidomastoid arc. So really important to just think about this line here. In some people it's very clear, and in other people not so much. So you really need to look at person to person, but of course this is mostly going to be covered up by hair, so you don't really need to think about it too much, but it's a great landmark to put in. It really helps with the overall feeling, and it really helps with the squareness of the face as well. If you make it a little bit like less wide, it's gonna look like the face is more compressed, and if you make it more like blocky as I have here, it's gonna make the face look more strong, more like really like a strong structure, you know? Here we have the mastoids. The mastoids is where the sternocleidomastoid attaches, and it's a super important landmark for the neck muscles. It's like this, it's a pretty like triangular roundish shape. It's a little bit weird, but yeah, I think it's really cool. So make sure that you understand that this shape will connect to the sternocleidomastoid, because that's the most important thing about this bony landmark. So here we have the suture lines, or some of them. It's just the ones I think is the most important ones, right? So these lines are really what can create some like a dimple right here in like the overall skull, and it's a really cool landmark to have on, like if you sculpt a bald person. It's really cool landmark because it gives some life and breaks up the overall like clean silhouette. And remember, the overall like shape of the like head on any person in general is not round, it's more squarish, and it has a lot of like variation. It has some dimples and it has some like some bumps, you know. It's so really important that you actually look at your reference and think about all of these shapes, because if you don't, it's just gonna look flat and yeah, very cartoonish. So think about that. Yeah, this bump right here, it's really important, and I'm not even gonna try to attempt to say its name because it's really complicated. But this bump is basically where the trapezius muscle connects. So it's an important landmark, right? And if you look at the back of the skull, this is actually a bump. You can feel it, the back of your head. If you just feel back at the back of your head, you're gonna feel it. So yeah, really important. And it's a really weird shape. It's very triangular too, right? So here we have the nose part, right? And this is an extremely important landmark, especially for the nose area, you know? So right here, you see this bump I have pretty clear. This bump right here, here is where this part ends on my face. You can see here. Yeah, that's this part. So after that, there is like cartilage and skin. So if you don't understand that this bone structure is underneath, it's gonna look really weird. So I usually just indicate this a little bit extra clearly in my normal like face sculptures, just to get that anatomy down. So on the skull, you can see it's very like triangular, or like two triangles, right? So really make this sharp, and it's really thin around here. I should have made it a little bit thinner maybe. Really thin around here, and then you have this part in the middle. That's a little bit weird, like sticks out like this. You don't really need to know that, but so make it sharp, and here it's actually gonna go like inwards right here, and then go outward here and outward. Kinda like an S shape with a sharp angle in the middle, you know? So really think about that. Really try to understand the anatomy underneath and then build on top of that. The mandible, not much to say. It's where the shoe muscle connects. And it's just this like bump here at the end of the skull. Very square. Shoe muscle connects from here to here to the zygomatic arc to the mandible, right? So yeah, not much more to say about that. Let's just jump to the next one. Alright, so the shin is a triangular plane right here that is really important to create this like complete jaw. It's really helpful on your face sculptures as well. So just wanted to let you guys know. Here you can see two different sculpts, guys. The one to the left is my new one, and the one to the right is my old one that I made like 2 months ago. So we're gonna take a look and see how can we improve this. What are the mistakes I made? And yeah, I'm just gonna basically show you how to improve it. And things to think about, you know. So the biggest mistake I see is the cranium, right? That's just ridiculous in size. So the first thing we need to do is just to scale that down a bit, right? Make it more something like that, maybe? A little bit smaller even? Something like that. And then the jaw, we can't have this sharp 90-degree angle. We need to make it more like, I think it's like around a little bit over 100 degrees or something like that. Something like this. That looks a lot better already. Yeah, the cranium is really important. You get this scale correct, especially from this point of view and this, right? So that cranium actually is correct in scale. And let's just mirror this so it's easy for me to work with. Something like that. So right here you can see it's supposed to be like an egg shape, as you can see right here. Like an egg shape. Really think about that. Then right here we have the nose area, right? So we need to move this upwards a bit to make it overlap a little bit more with the eyes, or the eye cavities, right? and then make it a little bit wider, make it overlap a little bit. And the eye orbits is actually supposed to be a lot more square because they are too round. So let's make them more square and a little bit bigger as well because they are very small here. Something like that. And then this area is also a lot thicker, so let's make that a little bit thicker. Then we have this interesting like S curve right here, as you can see, S curve. Really think about the gesture. It's really important to think about the gesture and how the shapes flow together, and really how one shape flows into the next one. So that's really important. Let's see here, like this cool S shape, something like that. And then about this zygomatic arc, the widest point is here, not here, right? So we gotta fix that. Then you can also see here that this is going inwards. It's not supposed to go inwards. So move it outwards a little bit and make it a little bit of a slope this direction instead, right? Something like that. And we have this like triangle shape here already. That's perfect. Then we can move like the temporalis line, or temporal line, not temporalis, temporal line, a little bit more, make it a little bit wider. And these like brow things here, they doesn't look too good, right? So we really need to fix that. So just make it a little bit flatter and make them a little bit smoother, something like that will really help. So this is supposed to be like this area where the like hourglass sits around here. So I really want to make this like pretty, not too sharp, but pretty sharp, and make it more soft and like a bat, kinda, as you can see here, like a bat. Something like that. Bat with its like wings out like this, you know? Then from the side, I think it looks fine, but we can actually put this a little bit higher. Something like that. So, yeah. This is just some common mistakes I'm fixing right now. Making the cranium too big, that's a really common mistake. And it's also a very common mistake to make it too small. So you really need to look at reference and find that sweet spot, you know? Yeah, and you can't get any better reference than like 3D scans. They are absolutely fantastic reference, guys. So I really, really recommend you guys to get some kind of 3D scan to use as reference, because yeah, it's amazing, you know? So right here you can see the skull is actually not round. It's actually supposed to be a little bit more like flat here, and then like flat, flat. So make these like sharp, flat like angles, and not just this round, because that's another big mistake as well. So, already thinks it looks a lot better. Yeah, so that's just some common mistakes, you know? So that's basically what I had for you guys in this video. If I haven't bored you already, then maybe consider to continue to learn some more anatomical skills by watching one of these. Yeah, and otherwise, I wish you guys a wonderful day, and yeah, cheers, bye.